The NFL Combine, it kicks off this weekend, and it's an exciting time for NFL fans. So on today's episode, me and Stevo, we gonna talk about them Tennessee Titans. Will they shake up the draft by not selecting a quarterback first? Will the Raiders go after Shador? And who will be the early surprise player of this draft? Plus a little bit more. Y'all know we gonna talk about it all. But obviously, you gotta hit an intro first.
Welcome to your number one spot for all NFL news and content, NFL Central.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome in to the new NFL Central hosted by me, Bobby, and my guy, Stevo. We got a lot of NFL things that's going to be coming you guys' way, bringing you that fire content at 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And you already know if it's breaking news, we got to break. Somebody going to break it. So make sure you tune in, hit that like button, and subscribe. Stevo, how you feeling, my boy?
Hey, they ask, they receive. They been asking for this for a long time. So hey, we bringing the content with you. As y'all know, football is our favorite sport. We break it down without trying to break it down. So why not put it on wax? So
Let's
that's what
get
we
it,
here
baby.
for.
But hey, let's get into these topics, Stevo. We got them Tennessee Titans, first overall pick. Man, and you already know. They can go either way with this number one overall pick. They can go ahead and select a quarterback. But do you think that these guys might shake up the draft by taking a guy maybe like a Abdul Carter or maybe even taking a chance on a Travis Hunter? How you think them Tennessee Titans are gonna be moving?
Quite honest with you, I think Travis Hunter is probably the highest on their list.
Mm.
Um, I know a lot of people are not fans of the current quarterback there and the previous quarterbacks that's been in the last, I say, 10 years. With Ryan Tannehill, then you went to get the quarterback out of Liberty, then you get Mayo man. So like, I
Mhm.
can understand why you're not dead set on it. But at the same time, this is not like a super deep QB draft class room. So I could see them taking a chance on next year or the years after that because they're slated to have a more deeper draft room when it comes to the quarterback position. So when you talk about what they need a little bit of everything. And why not get somebody that is a little bit of everything? He's a cornerback. He's going to be listed as a quarterback as of now in the combine. So I think we can assume right now that cornerback is going to be his primary position. Which is I'm not mad at it. I was a little bit surprised because we know it's a money difference when it becomes a top wide receiver versus a cute cornerback. So I
Mhm.
thought he was probably going to lean in more on the wide receiver position. But hey, he a cornerback, and that's what he's been since high school, and that's what I think he went to Dion for to hone in on his craft. So, with that being said, I don't really have to talk that much about Travis Hunter.
Right.
He has all the intangibles to be a great corner. He's probably best in man, but he can also play zone. He's good at player recognition, and then he just has that sixth sense that not every defensive player has. I almost call it the Troy Polamalu sense because
Yeah.
Troy would just make plays that you didn't see. You just saw
Exactly.
it way ahead of time, and he did it. I think that was one of the first times I seen that was a ball he read that I was like, ain't no way he's finna break off and catch that ball. And he did it.
Right.
I think it was in Jackson State. I might be in that bowl game when they played Grambling. So
Mhm.
yeah, like when it comes down to it, he's a game breaking type of player. And then on the back end, you can have a bevy of combos and schemes for him on the offensive side of the ball. You get 2-1 with this player. So with a team that needs so much and it's a whole lot, why not get a player that can cover a bevy of other things?
I'm with you on that. I think that for the Tennessee Titans, it will be hard not to pick a quarterback though, especially when you look at the head coach over there in Callahan, who be grilling Mr. Mayo man Will Levis every chance he get. I remember, yeah, hey, y'all. Hey, I'm a Bears fan. I remember in game one when Tennessee pretty much had the game wrapped in the bag and Will Levis gave it away. And that was the start of it. You know what I'm saying? So I looked at that and I gotta kind of agree with you a little bit when it comes to the Travis Hunter thing. But it's gonna be interesting to see how these guys feel about a Shador Sanders or Cam Ward, because we know that these guys are talented as hell, but we also know that when it comes to if you're trying to have sustained success, you gotta be able to fill it out with some players everywhere else. And to be quite frank with you, the Tennessee Titans got to ask themselves, if we take a quarterback right now, do we have the infrastructure around this young quarterback to make sure that he's in a position to where he can be successful? How does the offensive line look? Do you have a solid running game? Do you have a number one wide receiver or a wide receiver that's trending upward for your young quarterback, and some more positional pieces, tight ends? I would say they got a lot of areas to cover. So when you say, hey, look at a guy that can go ahead and play shutdown corner for you, and then if you need some explosive plays on the offensive side, you can give him some. You can give him a few runs at it and see what can come out of that. I think it's gonna be a tough decision for him, though. I definitely think the combine. We hearing that Shador is not gonna participate in the throws, but if you get a close look at Cam Ward, you got to make sure you got some decisions you need to make. And I don't know why Shador not throwing. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, that's a little weird. Like, I mean, I would think he would have not do everything else, like not doing the 40, not doing the bench press, but I throw. Like that's something usually, but usually throwing is something you just want to show that you can do. But I mean, he also I'm not shocked that he said something like that because that's something he would do. Like my tape is out there. I've
Yeah.
got tape for two different teams. Like you can pick and choose of which one you want to go from. But besides that, it is hard because Cam, like somebody like Cam, is somebody that can be very polarizing, and then you see his work ethic, you see how serious he takes the game. Like he's one of the I say one of the first quarterbacks in the last 10 years that I've seen was this serious. Like not to say Shador isn't, but like it just seems like a level of focus that Cam has that nobody else because he has a different story. Like I mean, don't get me wrong, Shador has his own story, but Cam came from not being ranked at all.
Yeah.
Like going to make a name for his stuff at Washington State. Almost went to the draft. He was this close from going for the draft, but
Mhm.
felt like he needed to put some more film and more things on his resume to prove himself. And he went out there, went to an SEC team, and if it wasn't for their defense, probably would have been one of the best teams in college. So Cam and Shador is somebody that if it came down to and they picked him, I don't do it. But I will say, if they don't pick him, expect a lot of movement from a lot of places.
Bro, that's why I'm at, because if they don't select them and they go Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter, now if you moving down the draft and teams that's gonna be in position, Cleveland at number 2, what do you do now? I know that you're giving a lot of money to Deshaun Watson. I know that. But do you continue to run that you do you allow that to run its course, or do you pivot and say, hey, Deshaun, you still gonna be our starter, but we need to look at this quarterback. The same thing gonna be for the New York Giants as well, and them Raiders at 6. Are you going to be willing to move up now if the Tennessee Titans don't go for that number one? Don't select the quarterback number 1. It's going to be interesting to see. But leading into the next topic, Steve-O, since we already talking on the Shador Sanders and the other quarterback and Cam Ward, we know that Dion. It seemed like Dion want his son to be in black and silver. Do you think the Raiders will make that move if the Titans shake it up a little bit?
Um, yeah, yeah. Especially, I mean, until you said that unless the Titans shake it up, I was like, I don't know, because if I'm Shador, technically, like those, it's two places I do want to go to, and that is Vegas or it's New York.
Okay.
Why do I say New York? Even though everybody's like, I don't know how you feeling when it comes to that. It fits him
Yeah.
on and off the field. He's a New York type of personality. The sponsorship is gonna be crazy, and I think the whole tri-state area is pissed that they gave up Saquon and
Facts.
he just won a championship. So
Facts.
they're gonna do everything in their power to get it right and put the right pieces around him. And they already got a number one wide receiver. It's time to shore up that line, and they can do that in this draft and offseason. So yeah, if I'm Vegas, based on what I seen last year, yeah, I'm going to get him because I only had one threat, and that was my tight end, and that's a problem.
Yeah.
And if I ain't got somebody that I trust throwing them to him, what's the purpose anyway? So with that being said, I think they should. I think they should make that move because if they don't, you still not really jump starting your rebuild how you want. You almost in a stall until you get your quarterback. So go get your quarterback. Now you can really set the plans in place to start your rebuild the correct way.
For real, and I'm with you on that. You look at the Oakland Raiders, man. Brock Bowers look like he's gonna be have a hell of a career with the way that he performed in all that turmoil last season. Now I'm with you though. I think that these guys are in a more better position to go after their guy than said the Tennessee Titans based off the skill position guys that they got on the offensive side. You know that they bringing in a guy in
Yep.
Pete Carroll who's going to provide a Shador Sanders with a running game. They gonna be able to do some things. And Pete Carroll, he's gonna play defense. He gonna be running the ball, and you're gonna allow Shador Sanders if they do decide to make that move, you're gonna allow him to have a solid infrastructure around him. Obviously, they got a lot of moves to make, but you still got a Max Crosby, you still got Brock Bowers, and now this new coaching staff. You know, Pete Carroll, he gonna come in and he gonna
Yep.
establish some toughness. He gonna run the rock, and that defense gonna play defense. And I think that'll be a good starting point for a guy like Shador Sanders or Cam Ward, depending on how they want to go with it. But I think they will lean in on Shador for sure.
Yeah. I mean, the line, it's just like the stars align with that. He has a great personal relationship with Tom Brady. Tom Brady is also a fan of him. It just makes sense. You're jumping into a new era of Raiders football. It's a lot of question about how you gonna do it. Why not do it? Why not go and get the most, if not the most polarizing quarterback that you possibly can get right now?
That's a
And
fact.
I know a lot of people is kind of like, well, Shador, he don't really have the physical upsides and this, that, and the third. But what that, like I've told people, those players that typically don't have it physically, they mind is sharp.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it is when it comes to Shador. He can make every throw out there. It might not be for 60 yards, but he gonna throw with anticipation. He gonna read the field before he snap the ball. That's
Fact.
the type of quarterback you gonna get, and that's the type of quarterback that can play 20 years if you keep him protected.
I'm with you on that, bro. I'm with you on that. I think that'll be the perfect fit for him. They're gonna have to call for some draft capital, but hey, at least you'll have your guy. And like I said, you got players that's around that. I forgot they had Jacoby Myers on the squad. They got him.
Yeah,
He's not a bad wide receiver either. And then that other kid, Shedrick is
Cedric. Yeah,
yeah. I think he a nice speed guy that can give some that can help out up in that pass game with Shador. So I say why not? Go ahead and see if they shake this thing up, start making calls. Honestly, I think they should start making calls like now. Like, to be quite frank with you,
yeah,
because
like yeah, like you need to start having these conversations early just to give a feeling on everybody else. Like you
right,
don't really like, and then again, like they kind of play mind games. Like they ain't gonna straight up tell you exactly how you feel, but or exactly what you want to hear, or give their plans away. But if you call enough and reach out around enough people, you can get a sense of what's going on. So yeah, it makes more sense right around combine time to start talking.
facts, and it's right around combine time, and we might as well start getting into the combine. Stevo, that combine kicks off this Thursday, and we've been watching these players. I got a lot of players that I like from multiple positions. Let's kick this thing off, man. Who give us one player you think that might be an early surprise player of the draft?
Um, Now when you mean early, what you mean like top 15, top
Like a
10?
guy that could probably slide up or down into that top 15, like that top half of the draft in the
Okay.
first round.
So I think the obvious one that everybody's been talking about is Mike Green. I
Oh
think
my
Mike
God, that was
Green,
my
by the
pick too.
yeah,
Yep.
was Mike Green. I think And in this last year, I think he ended with around 17 sacks.
Yeah,
Like, and for him to be only what 6'5", 6'4",
crazy.
240 ish,
Hmm.
that's crazy. Because usually in that edge position, you want them that height, but you really want them a little bit more bigger, more 260, 270. And I think just straight up his quick twitch, the way he could bend around the edges, and just how physically he already is as a coming in as a rookie, he going to be as strong as he is. He's a top 10 pick. Like there's he like Pat said it this morning. He kind of reminds me of like a smaller Khalil Mack. He
Yeah.
just he don't seem like he should be that strong, but
Mm-mm.
he is, and he's super quick. That first step is one of the most quickest first steps probably in the draft. So when it comes down to it, he probably is going to be a top 10 pick before it's over with because he's just that type of player. He's this is his second team. I think he came from UVA or something like that. But yeah, he showed himself. He proved himself. He has the measurables. Of course, he has his weaknesses, like you would want his hand techniques and his techniques. He just more of his fundamentals to be sharpened. But besides that, raw, just him being straight up raw, Mike Green, he's a top 10 pick after this combine for sure.
That's exactly who I was gonna go with as well. But I had picked up another guy, and like it might be a bit of a stretch to put, you know what I'm saying, because this is an offensive tackle out of Oregon and Josh Connolly Jr. Me
You ain't the only
personally,
one saying that.
I like him though. I like him a lot. I know that the season didn't end too well for the Oregon Ducks. You know what I'm saying? They got whooped by OSU. But I think that with the injuries of Josh Simmons, who's supposed to be coming out of Ohio State, I think that that will push some teams away, especially if they not 100% sure with the recovery on his injury. And a lot of people, including myself, have the mindset of, hey, if you come in the league hurt, there's a strong chance you might still remain hurt. So I think that when you look at that, I know Kelvin Banks Jr. is a guy that's being mentioned and, you know, kind of moving up and down. But I like Josh Connolly a lot too. I think he right up there in that Kelvin Banks. And I think that Will Campbell with the way that he's been moving up and talked about, somebody gonna snatch him early. So it's gonna be some teams that's probably in that top half gonna start evaluating. My Bears being one of them and looking at, hey, who's the best available offensive lineman? I'm not saying that it's gonna happen, but I think there is a chance that Josh Connolly can move up as somebody who's been slated to be an early second round. I think he could definitely edge up and get closer to that top half.
Yep, I 100% agree with you. I'm not. I'm not gonna say I'm not as high on him, just and it's mainly just because of that injury, the injury history. So that's the only thing. But he's steadily every day rising up the mock draft. So I could see him. I don't know if he's gonna be a top 10, but I can see him sneaking in that top 25 for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Because they got him slated to be early second. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So we'll see what happens with that one. Steve, I'm gonna kick the Steve, I gotta kick it off and think who I think in every single draft, there's always a player that you think can rise the most, or it's always a name that comes from left field and people start talking about. So the player I think that's gonna rise the most is Tyler Show from the quarterback from Louisville.
Louisville,
Yes,
the
and the
old
reason, and
Oregon
it's
guy,
not my this man. First of all, the man been in college for 7 years, Steve. But
a journeyman.
we starting to hear his name come up in some of these mocks, and one prominent name is talking about him. That's Louis Riddick. Watch out for Tyler Show. And Tyler Show in this combine was slated to be in a throwing group with Cam Ward and Shador Sanders. This guy is 6'5", 225 as a quarterback. He big as hell and played a lot of football in college, 7 years, guys, three different schools. Started his career off in Oregon, went to Texas Tech, and then ended up in Louisville. And hey, I'm just saying, when you watch some of the tape, he got some deep ball accuracy. When throwing down the field, it looked like his big arm. Haven't watched much of those Cardinals down there, but when guys like Louis Riddick and other draft guys start mentioning names, people start like, okay, and then kind of overreacting a little bit. But I think that could be one player that rise a lot.
Yeah, I ain't know we was both gonna go pick a quarterback, but
Crazy.
yeah, we definitely finna pick a quarterback. But I think it's gonna be Ole Miss very own Jackson Dart.
Hey.
And the reason I say that, it's funny that you say Tyler Schultz, is because Tyler Jackson and Quinn Ewers and some others, they was probably 2 years ago was listed as probably gonna be number one picks or
Yeah.
up there as the top picks. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't Cam or Shador. So, and if anything, out of all the names, it was between Cam and it was between not Cam. It was between Quinn Ewers and him.
Right.
Quinn Ewers and him was 1 and 2 probably to start off last year, to be honest with you,
Mm-hmm.
or the year prior. So he's somebody that I could see flying up the board. Um, the year he had it was okay. Like it wasn't like earth shattering, but he did the job. He's a big body, 6'2", 225, 226, one around those things. Got a pretty live arm. I ain't gonna say it's huge, but it's a pretty live arm. And I think he could dazzle the fans in the combine going into it. And I think the biggest thing that comes to why I think he's gonna jump is just some of the some of the NFL comparisons he's getting is kind of crazy. Like I'm trying to peep which one he said. Josh Allen. That's
Really?
what they try to compare them to,
Oh
like
God.
a very raw Josh Allen. I'm like, well, I mean, I could see a Wyoming Josh Allen that's in a 6'2", 225 package, but yeah, when it comes down to it, I think just biased terms of what he's done in Elite 11, what he's done all up until this point, and he's going to get a little bit of love because he's playing in SEC as well. And that's
Yeah.
the hardest one. Is still one of the hardest divisions, even though it's shifting over to the Big Ten.
You already know. Yeah, Big Ten, they rising. They putting some people under notice for sure. And it's been
Facts.
real competitive out there. Steve-O, who you think could fall the most? It is early on in the draft before we find out more information in this combine.
Um, Miro, Jalen Miro.
Bro, I was like, what? For real?
it,
Because
the thing is, it is also kind of what Jackson did. I forgot to mention it. He had a hell of a week at the Senior Bowl. Jalen Miro did not.
yeah.
And I think that's what's really gonna hurt him. And he's always gonna fall under the what I should say, the Lamar Jackson stereotype of maybe we should move him to wide receiver.
Right.
Maybe is he really a quarterback? He's always gonna follow under that. So at this point, I see him being like a second round pick.
Shit, I think the man could slide further than that, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's
Probably.
just because it's gonna be one of them things to where it's like he athletic as hell, and as a quarterback he can run. Sometimes the arm looks live, but then it's just not consistent.
It's not controlled.
Yeah, it's not consistent when my man's when those games get big and you know what I'm saying, things just got to go ahead and take what the defense is giving him. He trying to make the highlight play, and that's what hurts him. But the player I think that could fall the most is I'm gonna go back to who I mentioned earlier, Josh Simmons. I think this combine and moving forward and getting closer and closer into the pro day, he gonna have to reinsure some people that knee is good to go and that he'll
Okay.
be ready and be able to push forward for the foreseeable future with the organization. This guy was the top offensive tackle. Now he's sliding. And honestly, I think the man could probably fall out of the first round if he doesn't have a good next few months, bro. I think he could definitely slide out of that first round. I think a team would still take a chance on him for sure because a guy that's talented like that, you still, you know what I'm saying? You could still see, hey, if I can get him in the building, we get him on the right diet. You already know people they're gonna talk themselves into decisions. And somebody gonna take a chance, but I still think that the guy could fall out the first round.
Yep. Straight up. And it's unfortunate because it's mainly just injury. And I think what it is, over the past few years, we've been seeing a lot of hurt offensive linemen get drafted
Mhm.
and they're not panning out at all.
Yep.
So I think the whole league is starting to turn and they noses to people that having prior injuries on that line, regardless if you a tackle, guard, or center. If you injured on that line, you gonna drop no matter how talented you is. Plus, I think the way Georgia, he did play at Georgia, right? Is it
Uh,
Ohio State?
it's
I'm
Ohio
seeing
State
red.
his last year.
Okay, so yeah, I think just because of Ohio State, I think the way they ended this year, he not gonna completely fall out the first round. but he gonna be one of them last picks. I can see,
For sure. I ain't mad at
unless
that.
unless because there's always somebody that's gonna risk it. Somebody might need a tackle out there, or possibly get scared of a tackle leaving their team. I don't know who, but they might get scared and go pick them in like I don't know 17, 18, 19 around that area.
For sure. I think that that's what makes sense too. It's just always that concern. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm putting it on these next few months for this young fella to go out there and just show the people his talents. Because that's all
But
he
you
got to do. You can just show you healthy, and then you're gonna be able to rock and roll.
but you know who's flying up these mock drafts? And I mean every single second he's moving up. Gray Zabel
Yes,
out of
strong
North
Senior
Dakota
Bowl
State, bro. And do get me wrong, I was he's probably the guy I've been watching tape on the most this morning, and I see it. I understand why. He has the measurables 6'5", 320, can move. He's good. He's probably best at run blocking. Strong. When he does get beat off that first step, he's able to recover pretty well. I think the biggest thing we gotta realize with him is he's a project still because it's a lot of grabbing when it comes to him. It's
Oh
not a lot of
yeah.
punching when it's not a lot of punching the thing. And even in the run game, I'm like, I can see him having as a rookie having one of the highest penalty rates in the league. So, but if he goes to the right team under the right coaching staff with the right O line coach, dude can be a monster for years to come.
I agree with that. That dude is a massive guy, and he was holding his own in that Senior Bowl for sure. So it's gonna be interesting, man. And I definitely see him. His name's definitely starting to pop up a lot, and I think it's gonna continue to rise, especially with these next few days.
Yep.
It's gonna be a lot of names that be like, hey, this guy he falling, and this guy he's rising. So y'all make sure y'all stay tuned in for sure. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned in. Steve-O, you got anything left, bro?
Nah. Hey, this the first one. Make sure y'all stay tuned in because we got more coming.
For sure. We definitely got more coming. So before y'all get up out of here, we ask that y'all go ahead and lead us any feedback, comments, concerns down in the comment box below. Go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. The next time you will see us is on Wednesday. Unless obviously we get some breaking news that we got to bring you guys or a topic that we got to be like, hey, let's go ahead and do it. But for the meantime, in between time, we appreciate y'all. Y'all make sure y'all tune in and we going to catch y'all on that next one for sure. Peace out, y'all.
Peace.